Hello, everyone. Um, Today we're going to talk about subitizing. If you look at this immediately, if I were to ask you this question, how many dots did you see? So if you manage to say five, it's because you are able to subitize. So subitizing is a Latin word. Okay, is a word derived from Latin, which means suddenly. So subitizing is the direct perceptual apprehension of identification of numericity of small group of item. So being able to see how many things there are without counting, just hence we say suddenly, then we know that that is subitizing, or you are able to subitize. So subitizing is when you are able to look at a group of objects and realize how many there are without counting. And this only works with small groups of numbers, as we can only subitize up to five things. So sometimes six. So it's normally five and six that you can subitize and say that there are six. A simple way to know the subitizing is the dice, right? If I throw the dice and it land on a six, you can just see it's six. You don't have to count the number of dots or any dots that the dice land on. You don't have to count the number of dots. That way, you are doing subitizing. Hence, one of the best way to teach subitizing is to play the snake and ladder game whereby learners get familiarize themselves with the dice. Okay? Who can subitize? Anybody can subitize. Um, Even a 6 months-year-old baby knows that four is different from three. There's a study that was done by Butterworth. Okay, in this study, they took a kid who was sleeping in a cord, and this kid they wanted her to see the difference between the number of things. Okay, so what they did is they showed the baby a card with four dots that were lying like that. They do it three times, right? And then while they're doing it three times consecutively, then the fourth time they show her this one here, which is the dot which has three times. And then this child have this reaction here. And this reaction shows that the baby is puzzled. And the baby look puzzled because he can see that there's a difference between the four and the three, or the dots that were there and the dots that are now in here. And this shows that the child can sabotage. So sabotaging as well is not only about knowing how many there are. Can you tell the difference between which one is more and which one is less? That's also part of sabotaging. Okay. And this assists you in terms of understanding the way in which one knows the numbers. Okay, there are two prominent types of subitizing, which is the perceptual subitizing and the conceptual subitizing. Okay, so perceptual subitizing is instantly knowing how many there are in a given set of six or less items, right? Like I can see five, right? In the sense that if I ask you how many there are, you can see that there are five dots without even counting. Okay. And that normally shows you how one does certain things. Okay. Then we talk about teaching subitizing, right? So in this case, if you remember what I said, if you look at this game here, one hide the hand at the back and then show you a hand with five and said how many. Just by being able to do this, then it's part of teaching how learners can sabotage. Or using this game can assist you in teaching learners to sabotage. And also, one, we can say, both of us, we raise the hands, which is three and five, and then we add them together. Then that's also part of teaching sabotaging. Okay. Then you have conceptual sabotaging. Conceptual sabotaging is described as the combining of perceptually sabotaged quantities to determine the total number. So is knowing how many there are. Like if you look at what I have here, I've got seven dots. You can see that there's a four and there's a three, and then you know that four and three gives a seven, right? So the child can sabotage beyond five or six, and they can use conceptual sabotaging based on the. So anything that is above six or above five, we can also say that is conceptual sabotaging because then it's the combination of the two. Okay. You remember the game I was saying that in this game, for example, if you are teaching the foundation phase, you can raise two hands, for example, with the five and the three, and they say how many. So they can see a 5 and they can see a 3 immediately, and then now they can add the 2 and make 8. Then that's also part of subitizing. Okay, so another way of subitizing is knowing which is more and which is less. So if I give you two sets of oranges like this, you can tell which one is more and which one is less without you counting one by one that, oh, how many here and how many here. So the ability to quickly determine which of the two is larger or smaller without counting each individual item or within the realm of subitizing. These aspects of subitizing, it involves immediate recognition of relative quantity or magnitude. Okay. Another thing, if you look at this here, which has more, gray or white? Just by looking here, you can tell whether there's a more gray or there's a white gray, or which one is more here. And this is, you don't even have to count. You can just see that gray is here is more. Okay. So the ability to compare quantities without counting each item individually is a fundamental aspect of subitizing. And it contributes to the development of number sense as it involves understanding of numerical relationship and magnitude. So to understand this particular concept, we look at the concept of understanding how many things there are. So if you look at this game, this is another game where you can teach subitizing, who has less and who has more, right? And this is to happen like in grade 1 and 2. Like we all raise hands and then who has more, right? It's either me or you, okay? So why is subitizing important? Okay, subitizing lays as the groundwork for developing the number sense. It helps children grasp the concept of numbers in a more intuitive and immediate way before they fully understand counting and numerical symbols. So before you know how to count, you start have to know which one is more, which one is less, and you must be able to relate it with the quantities. Okay, and also it supports the counting, right? Because then subitizing supports the development of counting skill by providing a precursor to the sequential aspect of counting. And when children can subitize small quantities, it aids them in understanding that numbers represent specific quantities and in transitioning from concrete objects to abstract objects. So subitizing, it facilitated the rapid recognition of small quantities, which is essential for mental maths and numerical reasoning. As children develop strong subitizing skills, they can perform basic arithmetic operation more efficiently and accurately. So enhanced number sense as well. Strong subitizing skills are often associated with enhanced number sense. What is number sense basically? Uh, Number sense is your ability to work with numbers easily, accurately, and faster. Okay. And when you're able to do that, it can happen because you are able to do the number sense. So number sense is a person's ability to understand, relate, and connect numbers. So children with strong number sense think flexibly and fluently about numbers. They can visualize and talk comfortably about numbers. Number bonds are one tool to help them see connection between numbers. Have you ever seen, for example, when you go out with your friends, and then when the bill comes, somebody says, everybody must pay what they've eaten, right? And then somebody take the bill, and immediately they just get angry. They just start harassing everybody, and you can see that they're getting agitated and aggravated. And you can see that this person now, he can work easily and comfortably with numbers. And in that particular sense, you can then say, this one doesn't have a number sense. Okay. Example of number sense, understanding parts of the numbers. In other words, the number families. For example, understanding that 8 is made of 7 and 1, 6 and 2, 5 and 3, as well as 4 and 4. That's part of number sense because you know this thing without even counting or without even doing the addition. So number sense is an umbrella term that refers to a set of skills that help us work with numbers, develop these abilities. So developing this ability allow us to perform mathematics equation and many other everyday tasks as well. So for example, every time you shop for the best price of an item, you compare different offers or different prices. And being able to know which is more and which is less, it's part of subitizing and it's part of developing the number sense. Can number sense be taught? Number sense is not something that you can teach. You don't necessarily get it by doing math problem, especially not math problems that have right or wrong numerical answers. The only way to build it is through practice and experience. So the more you play these games, the more you play snake and ladders, is the more you can sabotage. And the more you can sabotage is the more you are developing your number sense. And remember, number sense have level. Just because you can sabotage and somebody who is in grade 7 no longer sabotage, they have another way of developing the number sense. So having number sense as level. Before you can learn to compare numbers, you must learn to compare quantities. And you see, that means that when you compare quantities, which is more, which is less, by means of looking at the oranges, then you are sabotaging. Then when I give you two types of numbers, then you look at them and you can tell the difference. You are also sabotaging, but on a different level. Then recognition of numbers of things using sabotaging. If you look at what I have there, you can see, you know that the hand has five, a foot has five toes, and the card. So all these things, you can see the five that comes in different aspects, and all this helps you understand what sabotaging is. For example, the recognition of four is part of sabotaging, whereby you don't have to count. If you see a cow, you don't have to count the number of feet. You already know that it has five. It has four. Sorry, the chair, the table, and the car. All those can give you the fourness. So skills developed from sabotaging, you know, the Dean's blocks, sometimes they are used in terms of how we teach. When we teach using the Dean's block, we start by making them count one by one until to the point whereby they can see the full set. And then we said this is 10. So every time if I were to say to them how many there are, and I give them one that is full, they can tell that this is 10 already, and then they just have to add towards the other one. Okay. And this skill, we use it as well. Like if you look at this, I've got 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, right? So if I ask how many there are, one can see that, okay, this 5 is 50, then 6. So it's 56, right? And because it's 5 tenths. And looking at that is that they just look at it and says, oh, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. And you see that this is 10 because of sabotaging. You know how the whole looks like in terms of before you move on. So sabotaging aids in the rapid recognition of numbers in small sets. So by visually recognizing quantities without counting, individuals develop an immediate association between numerical symbol and their corresponding quantities. And this assists them in how they're supposed to look at sabotaging. So sabotaging require visual discrimination and pattern recognition. Individuals must quickly perceive and distinguish between different arrangements of objects, enhancing their visual processing ability. And this is what makes sabotaging being easier for most of the learners. So proficiency in sabotaging, it fosters numerical fluency, okay? Enabling individuals to quickly and accurately manipulate small quantities. And this fluency lay a groundwork for more advanced and arithmetic skills. And sabotaging facilitates the ability to estimate quantities without counting each item individually. So by quickly assessing the number of objects in a set, individuals can make informed estimation, okay? Which is also the skills that numbers are sabotaging teach. So sabotaging is closely linked to the development of number sense, in a sense that everything gets to be part of the bigger picture. So through sabotaging, individuals develop an intuitive sense of numbers, including the concept such as magnitude, comparison, and composition of numbers. If you have any question, just send me an email and I'll be able to assist you. Thank you.